Dear chess friends, crazy things are going on in chess.com's Computer Rapid Chess Championship in 2023. After 32 rounds of the semifinal stage, believe me or not, Leela C0, not Stockfish, Leela C0 is now in the lead with 19.5 points against Stockfish 18.5 points. This is really crazy. This is really epic. This is the competition that we wanted to see, of course, in the computer chess world. And this tournament was already crazy enough. If you have followed my YouTube chess channel, for instance, in the main tournament of the Computer Rapid Chess Championship, the Torch engine finished only with half of the point less than Stockfish after many rounds. Now the Torch engine in the semi-final stage is on the third place, which makes this tournament really crazy. The Torch engine is also not so far behind, so we have now three powerful engines that are competing for the throne of the Computer Rapid Chess Championship. This is really crazy. That's the competition that we wanted to see, not really just a pure domination by Stockfish. And now Leela C0, as I said, took the lead probably in the super finals. A little bit unexpected. We have to see. We'll see maybe this beautiful and epic match between Leela C0 and Stockfish. I'm saying unexpected because in the previous computer tournaments, the Torch engine finished only always on the second place behind Stockfish, of course. But the Torch engine was becoming more and more the second force in the computer chess world. Now Leela gets back and is now even on the first place after many rounds. So okay, we cannot say this is not a big sample. This is nothing spectacular. Maybe something will change because still they have to play many games, but this is very interesting. Leela C0 plays beautiful chess, and that's why in this video I wanted to show a spectacular gameplay by Leela versus Dragon in a beautiful sharp attack against the French defense. In my opinion, really a beautiful performance here by Leela C0. So let's see now what happened with the white pieces. Leela C0 opened with the move e4. The Dragon engine response was e6, and it's really interesting that now the Dragon engine no one mentions anymore, because the Dragon engine, for instance, used to play also in many computer chess finals and also in some finals of some other TCEC competitions. So you see now the Dragon engine is basically not getting it on the second or maybe on the third place. Now the Dragon engine is, I think, even the fourth force in the computer chess world. Now it's not so strong like maybe the Torch engine and Leela C0. So after move e6, we have d4, d5, knight to d2, the Tarrasch variation, knight to f6, close stuff. And now after move e5, knight to d7, knight to f3, normal development here by white. Black hits the center with the move c5. We have c3 protecting now our center. We are attacking, of course, this side of the board. Black is here attacking on the queen side with ideas of b5, and here progressive ideas on this side of the board. Knight to c6, continuing normal pressure. We have bishop to d3, and now the main line would be queen to b6, putting more pressure against the pawn on d4. But now the prearranged move by the organizer was to move g6, which we have to say is not the optimal way here to proceed. This, I think, you should not do when you play with the black pieces. But in this computer chess championships and in all other TCEC competitions, and in every competition when computers are playing, of course, they're setting up a little bit a sort of a bad line in which then white has progressive ideas, in which white can create immediately attacking chances, and then black has to defend the position. So now after move g6, as I said, it's not the optimal way here to play. Leela C0 immediately launches the flank attack against the fianchetto, which is, in my opinion, the best way here to proceed. h5 is now huge threat. We have a6, progressive ideas here, b5, c4, b4 if possible. So here black continues the pressure on this side of the board. We have kingside castling. Interesting here stuff by Leela C0, but that's, I think, a very natural idea in French defenses. You can castle here although you're attacking this side of the board, because you have the advantage on this side of the board. You should not worry that the position opens here somehow on this side of the board, because you have really many spaces here. You have also the rook here, so you should not worry, for instance, moves like f6 here by black. In the game, bishop to g7 was played by the Dragon engine. We have h5, g takes h5, rook to e1, and now after c takes d4 and c takes d4 here, f6 was played by the Dragon engine, trying to compete, of course, against the main advantage of white, this very unpleasant and annoying pawn on e5. And now the fun starts. So here Leela is saying, okay, you're attacking me now here in the center of the board. At least I'm not allowing you here to make this move b5. That could be very useful. Maybe b5, then bishop to b7, to maybe even play queen to c7, even if possible, maybe to castle out of white's attack, maybe here on the queen side. So here with the move a for Leela0 is saying, no, you're not going to castle queen side, you're not going to do anything on this side of the board. And here, that's why the dragon engine castled into the attack with this particular move. I said Stockfish, sorry about that, but you see how Leela0 is playing. It's really like the Stockfish engine here, because Leela plays also a beautiful, beautiful rook lift here, rook to a3, and when you see in the top engine world a rook lift, then you know that this rook is becoming the most monstrous piece, the most dangerous piece on the board. Really, really wild stuff. So we have here h6 by the dragon engine, knight to f1, we're rooting now the knight on a better square, knight to g3, and then knight to h5 here are huge threats. We have f takes e5, d takes e5, knight takes e5, and now a stunning move, rook takes e5, sacking the rook in the middle game stage. That's the way to go. Look at this, knight to e5, knight takes e5, bishop to e5, but now this pawn is falling here on h6, and here the rook is hanging. What should black do here? For instance, the problem for black is here, if you play rook to f7, then the queen is coming in a beautiful and spectacular way into the game. Look at this, queen to h5, we have here maybe queen to f6, but now you play a stunning bishop to h7. This would be the winning tactic here. For instance, you play king to h7, then we have this one, bishop to g5, discover check, and now you lose the queen. If you play here rook takes h7 instead of king takes h7, then we have queen to e8, immediately a checkmate. You can just cover, of course, with the queen, but now after queen takes f8, the game is over here for black. So see, rook to f7 is not working here to get out of this mess. Also rook to e8 is not working, because again, queen to h5, you're trying maybe to get the piece back, but now with queen to g6 here getting into the game, queen to h7 is a huge threat. As I said, the rook will come into the game. This is not defendable anymore for black. So that's why after bishop to h6, we have queen to f6, and now comes the stunner, the most epic and most beautiful move of this particular game. Maybe just for fun, pause the video and try to see now here the best continuation for white. I will not say this move is completely winning here for white, but maybe you want to practice some wild tactics. So try to see now, as I said, the best continuation from white's perspective. We have to notice also the threat is here, queen takes f2. Okay. Here, if you pick up the rook, then the king is getting out of the attack. So here, Leela plays a stunning and spectacular, beautiful move, bishop takes h7. It's not allowing here black's king to escape. In the game, king takes h7 happens, and now we have this idea, bishop to f8. Now when the king is decoyed to the square h7, it's a different story, because if you play now queen to f8, this wasn't dragon's continuation, dragon played queen to g6 here. If you play here queen takes f8, then we have this one, queen to h5, king to g7, and then queen to e5 is winning the game. The rook is getting into the game, knight is coming into the attack, so black cannot defend his position, because black's pieces here are simply far away from the action, so they're not defending the king. So that's why after bishop to f8, we have queen to g6, rook to h3, putting more pressure against the pawn on h5, bishop to d7. Here the dragon engine is desperate somehow to include more defenders into the game. Again I'm used to say really Stockfish, because it's such a brutal attack here, really like the Stockfish engine. Rook to h5, we have king to g8, and now after bishop to h6 and bishop to f6, here the dragon engine finally regrouped somehow, finally got the pieces into the defense. But now again a beautiful calm move, bishop to d2, and now of course the main goal is somehow to deliver an annoying attack against the queen, then maybe include the queen on g4, and again putting more pressure against the king. Again, this bishop is simply so blocked out by its own pawn structure. Finally here e5 was played by dragon, finally trying somehow to include the bishop also into the game, but now rook to h6 anyway. Here queen to f7, and now Leela plays a beautiful knight to g3 with the opportunity to play knight to h5, and then put more pressure against this loose bishop on f6. We have a5, knight to h5, rook to a6. Nice defensive idea here by dragon, but now queen to f3, again a new attack against this bishop on f6. After bishop to g7, we have queen to g3. If you, of course, here play something like rook to h6, then bishop to h6 is winning the game on spot, so you cannot defend anymore this piece on g7. If you pick up the knight, then you get checkmated here by the bishops and queen's activity. So that's why after queen to g3, here you have to play bishop to e8, putting more pressure against the knight on h5. Now Leela c0 took the rook, rook takes a6, b takes a6, bishop to h6. Again, you cannot pick up now the knight on h5 because of the checkmate threat. We have king to h7, we have queen to g7, everything is forced here, and after queen to g7, bishop to g7, and bishop to h5, it seems so that black has defended the position because we have now opposite colored bishops on the board, but after bishop to e5, this is a different story because now we have a strategic advantage in the endgame. It's, of course, these two connected pass pawns on the af and g file. This is really crazy. This is now winning because we can always push the pawns, but if, I don't know, you make a tiny little inaccuracy, then maybe in some lines black can sacrifice the bishop for 2 pawns and force also a drawish position. Also, what we should consider maybe is a position of the wrong bishop here. For instance, if you just are left with the bishop here on e5 and maybe with the pawn on a4, and maybe the king is close enough to the action, then it should be also a draw. If you could just imagine just this position with the bishop and the pawn on a4 and both of these kings on the board, then it's also a draw because, as I said, you cannot promote then the pawn because it's the so-called wrong bishop position. So now with these two connected passers, it's a different story. If you play here the game correctly with the white pieces, then it's completely winning here. So that's why here bishop to e8, first attacking this weak pawn on a4, but who cares? f3 here played by Leela c0, king to g6, we have king to f2, bishop to a4, and now Leela plays bishop to c3, attacks also the weak pawn on a5. We have bishop to d1, bishop takes a5, d4, king to e1, attacking the bishop, and now after bishop to b6, here dragging advance now also the pawn on d3. We have king to d2, bishop to c2, bishop to a5, and now very important centralizing move of the king, king to e3. This bishop is holding so far the position, which is very good for white. So black has to go somehow maybe around with the king in order somehow to push it here to d2. Meanwhile, of course, white is pushing this pawn, so you cannot also leave here the king side unprotected with the king. So very unpleasant endgame here to handle for black. King to e5 here was played by Drang. We have bishop to d2 by Leela c0, king to d5, king to f4, again getting the king more active towards the center, bishop to a4, and now king to f5. What should you do? If you play here bishop to d7, if you attack now the king, then king to f6 simply improves the position of the king. The king is now closer to the potential support of the promotion on the g file. You can maybe try king to d4, but now look at this, we play g4, and the cool part is that the bishop and the pawn are holding these two squares, are not allowing black to somehow get into this position, maybe also force a further sacrifice by the bishop here by pushing the pawn to d2. So the king is helpless here. The king cannot get into the game. Look at this beautiful defensive but also attacking structure here by Leela c0. We have a5, we have then g5 problem, and then after something like bishop d8 we can simply push the pawn further, and this position is defendable for white. Here on this side of the board we have this extra pawn on the f file, so it would be game over. So that's why here bishop to d7, as we said, a check doesn't make sense because we simply play king to f6. So that's why after king to f5 we have king to c4 by the Drang engine. So now Drang is trying to get the king somehow here and push the pawn on the d file. I'm really crazy. I'm really crazy with this stockfish stuff. So here king to e4 played by Leela c0, bishop to b5, we have king to e3, bishop to a4, and now f4, we have bishop to d7, and now very important move, bishop to c3, supporting of course the further progress of white's pawns and still controlling the d2 square. What should you do? If you play a5, we'll simply take it. If you stay here somehow on this diagonal with the darts with bishop, then the issue is here we simply play a calm and slow move, g3, then you play bishop to d7, and now again we get the king closer. You try maybe something like king to b3, but then you lose this pawn, so it's undefendable. We simply then eventually push the pawn on f5. We'll wait here. In one moment you have to sacrifice the bishop for a pawn, so again it's game over here for black. So after move bishop to c3, king to c5 was played by the dragon engine, but now Leela c0 took the pawn with the move king to d3. We have now king to d5. Now here dragon is trying to hold the position, but here Leela plays bishop to h8. We have bishop to f5, king to f3, and now after king to g3, we have king to h3, a4, g4, and now the pawns are marching here on this side of the board. This is now undefendable. In the game, dragon tried bishop to b1, king to h4. We have king to e4, and now after king to g5, the king is supporting, of course, the further progress here. King to d5 was played. Now Leela pushed the pawn further with the move f5, bishop to d3, king to h6. What should you do? Even if you try, I don't know, bishop to b1, then we simply push the pawn further. You get the king closer, but now look at this. Your king is standing in the way. You cannot protect the further progress on f7, so that's why after king to h6 here, dragon tried bishop to c4, g5 by Leela c0, king to c5, g6. Look at this, f6. Now this pawn is rolling on f7. You can of course sacrifice it, but you can never stop the further progress. So the potential promotion also comes with a check. That's the issue here. And again, here a beautiful move by Leela c0, bishop to f6, trying to deflect now the king from the defense of the square f8. Here, if you try, as I said, king to f6, then this comes with a check. After bishop to f6, dragon tried d7, Leela c0 promoted here, new queen. We have king to c6, now a couple of checks, and here Leela even sacrificed the queen. A little bit fun here, beautiful endgame technique, because now another pawn can be pushed, and now after a couple of moves, again, a new promotion of the queen. Now Leela c0 took this last chance here by black, the pawn on a2, and now delivered a couple of checks. Here, got the king cornered, and now after a couple more moves, Leela c0 delivered a beautiful checkmate here on h5. Pooh, really beautiful attack by Leela c0. Leela is, as I said, now in the lead of the Computer Rapid Chess Championship in 2023, which is really crazy. And this is a situation that I really wanted to see in the computer chess world. This is a situation that I want to see also in the TCEC competitions. Basically, I don't care who wins, but I think we need a dynamic tournament because these games are beautiful, these games are powerful. But I think a little bit more competition could be useful because the viewers want, of course, to see tension, to see maybe even a little bit of drama, if that's possible in the computer chess world. But the developers of the chess engine, I think there is also a certain prestige. Who is the better developer? Who can make a better chess engine? So I think it's also a very important competition between them. So as I said, maybe a little bit more competition would be useful. We have been used now many times to see the Stockfish engine winning every particular computer chess championship, every TCC competition. Now, who knows? Maybe Leela can win the tournament. Maybe the Torch project will also be successful. So in my opinion, we have now a beautiful era, and in the future we'll see many epic and spectacular battles in the computer chess world. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot. Interesting ideas of the French defense. If you want to see more spectacular attacks like this, check out our Come the Chess Games Played by Computer series. Here's the link of our playlist. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos, and what do we say? Chess is the best, of course.